What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, the FAQ for OP-11 has gone and been revealed. So what am I going to do? Not tell you about OP-11? No! OP-11 is coming thick and fast. OP-11, it's not here yet, but I'm going to be honest with you, we're 2 weeks away from it being here, and that means we need to chat about all of the rulings. Plus, we got to that lovely point that I personally love, where the whole set list, there's scanned in English on the official website, which frankly makes my job a lot easier. So yay! So given that we've got the rulings, and given that we've got the scans, we can go and have a good old look about it. So let's start off, well, with the first ruling, which is about your Kobe. Now, what we got with Kobe here is a leader whereby your sword characters can attack characters on the turn they're played, and once per turn, if your Navy character with 7k base power or less would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, you can instead put 3 cards in the trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay. Well, what if 2 of my Navy characters with 7k base power or less would be removed from the field using, say, OP-11's Kaido? Can I prevent both characters from being KO'd? And is it 3 or 6 cards that go to the bottom of my trash? 3. Because this is a skill that activates once per turn if your Navy characters would be removed. Well, Kaido, it's happening simultaneously. It is one use of the skill, so it's only 3 cards, which is nice. But because it's all happening at the same time, you get to save more than 1. If I got 2 or fewer cards in my trash, can I use this? No! Because you've got to put 3 cards in your trash to the bottom of your deck. Let's say 2 of my Navy characters with 7k base or less, character A and B, were KO'd at the same time when I had 2 cards in my trash. Okay, can I trash the first one, and then I've got 3 cards in my trash that I can put on the bottom of my deck to save the second one? Does that work? No. Because when the skill activates, you have a look, there's 2 cards in your trash, you cannot save them, I'm sorry. Now Hibari's coming in here with a new card, and this is one of the fun ones, one of the sword ones, and we've got a skill whereby when you're attacking, this character gains 1,000 power, and then one of your Navy leaders can also attack active characters during this turn. Well, if my opponent's got a rested kid from OP-01, so I can only attack that, and it's got to give, obviously with a Don card on, can my leader, which can attack active characters, attack my opponent's active characters other than kid? No. Hibari lets you attack active characters, but Kid says you can only attack Kid, so sorry, you can only attack Kid. Franky, on your turn once per turn, when your opponent activates an event, all of your characters gain 2,000 power for the turn. Okay, what if it's a trigger? Not the same. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, not the same. It's got to be actually activating an event. Trigger is not the same thing. If my opponent activates Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk, can I prevent this character from being KO'd by the counter effect by raising this character's effect first and increasing its power to 6k? No. The event's effect will be resolved before this card's effect is resolved. Sorry about that. Well, if my opponent activates Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk and KOs this character during my turn, can I still activate the effect for my others? No. Sorry, he gone. Never mind, eh? Now, Prince Grus is getting a card here. When attacking, all of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less cannot activate blocker during this turn. Well, if I activated this when attacking effect, and then my opponent plays a character with 2,000 power or less, can they block? Yes, they can, because they weren't on the field to be turned off when Prince Grus used its attacking skill. If my opponent's character had 3,000 power or more when I activated it, but then the power is dropped to 2,000, will it still be able to activate blocker? Yes. Essentially, when Prince Grus attacks, all the 2,000 power blockers on the board at the time get turned off. But if they weren't on the board or they had more power at the time, then they're good. If my opponent's character had 2,000 power or less when this is activated, but then goes up to 3k, will it be able to activate blocker? No, because when Prince Grus' skill activated, it had 2,000 power or less, and blocker was turned off. It is, are they on the field with 2,000 power or less when Prince Grus uses a skill and this activates? Borsalino lets you rest this character, and up to one of your Navy characters or leaders can also attack active characters during this turn. Well, if I select a character I played this turn, will they be able to attack active characters? No! Because they can't attack. So it doesn't work. It's not giving you rush, it just lets characters that would be able to attack active characters. There we go. That's pretty important. Honesty Impact. It's a new event card coming in red in the set, and what we've got from Honesty Impact here is a main that gives one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power for the turn, and then you KO an opponent's character with 6,000 power or less. Well, can I give one character minus 4k and then KO a different character? Yes, they are different skills, they activate differently, you're good. Now, the Shirahoshi leader here has got a skill whereby activate main once per turn, rest one of your Don, and turn a card from the top of your life cards face up to play a Neptunian character or a Megalo with a cost equal to or less than the number of Don cards on your field from your hand. Can I activate this if my top life card is already face up? No! Of course you can't. You got to turn your life face up. If you can't turn it face up, you can't use it. Now, Arlong's a very good card if your leader has the Fishman type, and you got 3 or fewer life cards, and your opponent has 5 or more rested cards. This gets minus 3 cost in your hand. Well, if this has been given minus 3 cost due to this effect, can I play this card using effects like Aladdin or Fish Tiger? Yes, of course you can. Because when you look at it in your hand, it is now a 4 cost. So yeah, things like Aladdin, which would target a 6 cost or less, absolutely does work here. How nice. We like this. Speaking of Aladdin, we got a skill here, whereby when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you can trash a card from your hand and rest it on to play a Fishman or Merfolk card of a cost of 6 or less from your hand. Well, if it is KO'd by an opponent's effect, can I trash a card from my hand but not rest one of my Don? No. Either you trash a card and rest a Don, or neither. If you choose to do neither, obviously the if you do effects won't resolve, but it's both or neither that's important. Now, Hachan is getting a new card. Just got to the bit of the anime with my children where Hachan's come out, which is kind of cool. And activate main, rest this character if your leader is Fishman or Merfolk. Up to one of your opponent's characters of a cost of 3 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. And we've seen stuff like this before, so let's just go through it nice and quickly. Does it mean they can't attack? Yes, because you need to rest to attack. Does it mean that they cannot use activate main that calls it to be rested? Yes, because they can't be rested. Does it mean they can't block? Yes, because you need to rest to block. Does it mean that your cards cannot rest the character you've chosen? Yes. Anything that would cause them to be rested no longer causes them to be rested. They cannot be rested. Now, there's a Luffy leader here, which, if Japan's anything to go by, will instantly become the best deck in the format when it's legal. And at the start of your turn, if you have 8 or more Don on your field, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a Straw Hat Crew card, add it to your hand, put the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Do I do this before or after drawing a card? Before drawing a card. This is a very important ruling. A lot of people are going to be playing Luffy, and this does make a difference because, of course, it changes the card that's going to be drawn, and ideally here, if you want a Straw Hat Crew, you get it from the skill, and then get a different other good card from your draw for the turn. This is very important. Can I activate this effect when I have 7 or less Don on my field? I mean, technically you can, but nothing actually happens, so it's confusing. Technically, you can say I'm using the leader skill. Oh, nothing happens. Boo! Never mind. There's also a Nami leader here. Now, Nami's got a skill whereby on your turn, once per turn, when a card is removed from yours or your opponent's life, and you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, draw a card. Okay. Well, let's say I use Kazuki Hiyori to add a card from my life to my hand, and then add a card from my hand to my life. Can I activate this leader effect? Yeah, of course you can. A card was removed from the life. Now, it was replaced very quickly, but it was still taken, and that's the only thing that's relevant. If I use Viola from EB01 to look at all of my opponent's life and put them back in any order, can I activate the skill? No, because no life was ever actually taken. Now, some of the Reiju family are coming in here, like Vinsmoke Ichiji, for instance. On your opponent's attack once per turn, if you only have Germa characters in play, one of your leader or characters gains 1,000 power for the battle, and then you trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. Well, if I've got this character, and I have a non-Germa character on my field, and my opponent attacks, and my character that isn't Germa is removed due to its when attacking effect or something similar, can I activate this on your opponent's attack? Yes. Essentially, your opponent does their attack, they activate their skill that takes out the non-Germa character, then Ichiji activates, at which point you look and you go, oh, I've only got Germa characters, I can use this skill. It's all about the timing and when they come in. Now, Vinsmoke Judge, activate main once per turn, trash a card from your hand. All of your Germa 66 characters gain 1,000 power during this turn. Well, what if I play a Germa 66 afterwards? Nah. Same ruling as we saw a minute ago. Skills like this, they activate and affect things that are in play at the time. If it's not in play at the time, it's not activated. This could be compared with a static skill that always affects all of your characters. That is not the case here. This is a use it, everyone gets affected. Now, Carrot comes in here with one of the more adorable artworks in the set. And we got a skill whereby when your opponent attacks, you can trash this character to give your leader a 1k bump during the battle. Well, if my opponent's character attacks, and this character is removed from the field due to its when attacking effect, can I still use this? No. And it's the same ruling as we just saw with Ichiji. Your opponent attacks, first you resolve their when attacking skill, and then by the time Carrot skill goes to activate, there's actually nothing here to activate, and it fails. Boo! Now, Pedro is getting a new card here, speaking of those lovely minks. And if you got 4 or fewer cards in your hand, this character gains blocker. Okay. So what if you've got blocker, but during the counter step, your hand goes to 5 or more cards in hand? At that exact moment, it will lose blocker. Is it the original target then that is the target of the attack? No. Because blocker has already been activated. Your opponent attacks, you activate blocker, Pedro is now the target. You do some countering, you go up, you lose blocker, but it doesn't matter at that point because you've already become the target of the attack. Now there's a Luffy character here, which if you got 5 or more cards in hand, this character cannot attack. Well, if my opponent activated the on-play effect of the OP-08 Edward Newgate, and I've got 6 cards in my hand, can I go to attack? Oh no, Newgate says I've got to trash 2 cards from my hand. So I trash 2 cards from my hand, and now I can attack, right? No! You've got 6 or more cards in hand, you go to attack, the attack fails, sorry. Gum King Cobra has got a counter. Up to one of your leader or characters gains 2k for the battle, and then if you've got 4 or fewer cards in hand, you gain an extra 2k for the battle. Well, if I've got 5 cards in my hand, including this, how much do I get? You get the plus 4k. Because when you play the card, it's not in your hand anymore. You play the card, It's out of your hand. You've gone from 5 down to 4. And then you get the 4K bump, not the 2K bump. Now moving over into purple, there is a new Charlotte Oven coming along. Activate main, rest this character, choose a cost, reveal a card from the top of your opponent's deck. If you have chosen the cost correctly, KO a free cost or less. And then add a Don card from your Don deck, rested. Well, do I still get the Don card if I choose the cost wrong? No. Sorry. Essentially, you've got to get the cost right to activate the rest of the card. If you don't get the cost right, nothing happens. Charlotte Montdor is coming back here. Activate main once per turn. Don -1. Rest this character. Your opponent puts 2 cards from their trash to the bottom of their deck in any order. And then you add a card from the top of your life to your hand. Well, if my opponent's got 1 card in their trash, can I use this to put that card from the trash to the bottom of the deck? Yes, you can. It's not something that you have to do in order to pay for the skill. It is part of the effect, so you just do what you can. Aramaki is coming back here as we head on over into black. Activate main, trash this character. If your leader is Navy, then one of your Navy characters can also attack active characters during this turn, and then you trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. Well, if I select the character I played this turn, can they attack active characters this turn? No! They're not allowed to attack. It just says if they can attack, they can attack active characters. Obviously, well, why would that work? That'd be broken. No. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a Caribou here. On play, you trash 2 cards from your hand. If you've got 1 or fewer cards in your hand, can you still play? Yes. It's not trash 2 cards, play this character. It is on play, trash 2 cards from your hand. So you play the card, then you look to see what you can trash, and if you haven't got 2, you don't trash 2. It's not a requirement to play the card, i.e. in bold before a colon at the start. It is an effect which happens when you play the card, so you do as much as you can. Now, Kuzan keeps getting cards, and frankly, they keep being good. Here, we've got ourselves a skill whereby, when attacking, up to 1 of your Navy leader or characters can also attack active characters during this turn. Hey, if I choose a character that was played this turn, can it attack? No! If you were played this turn, you can't attack at all. Boo. Korribu, not Caribou, Korribu, we've got a skill here whereby on play trash 1 card from your hand. Same ruling as Caribou. When you play this, if you got 0 cards in your hand, yes, fine. You play it, then you look to trash. If you can't trash, it's fine. Now, Helmeppo here's got an on play, trash a card from your hand. And here it is, you must trash a card in order to activate the rest of the skill. Draw a card, play a sword character of a cost of 8 or less other than Helmeppo from your trash, and then place the character played by this effect at the bottom of the owner's deck at the end of this turn. Okay, well if I use this on play effect to discard a sword card other than Helmeppo, can that then be the card I choose to play? Yeah, of course I can. First you discard, then you look at your trash. By that point, it's already there. After all these years, I'm losing my edge. Well, we got a counter. Up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains 1k during this battle. And then if you've got 10 or more cards in your trash, add a black character with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. Well, during the counter step, I used a black character card with a cost of 3 or less as a counter, and then activated this counter effect while having 10 or more cards in the trash. Can I add that black character that I just used back to my hand? Yeah. Again, you use the counter, and then you went to check, it's there, you're fine. If I activate this with 9 cards in my trash, can I get a black character card back to my hand? Yes. Because when you play the card, it goes to the trash. So you play it, put it in the trash, then you check, and that is the 10th card. So you do have 10 cards in your trash. Now we have a new Kami coming in here as we head over into yellow. And what we got from Kami is, on your turn, once per turn, this effect can be triggered when your opponent activates an event or trigger. Notice here how it specifically says activates an event or trigger, as opposed to earlier when it was only activates an event. If your opponent has 2 or more life, trash a card on the top of each of yours and your opponent's life. Well, if my opponent activates Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk and KOs this character during my turn, can I still activate this card's effect? No, because it's not there to use. If I deal 1 damage to my opponent when they have 2 life cards, and my opponent activates a trigger, can I still activate this? Yes. Unfortunately, you then look and you go, my opponent doesn't have 2 or more life, so nothing happens. Again, technically you can activate the skill, but it's kind of pointless because nothing happens because they don't have 2 or more life. Again, the life is removed. Oh, it's got a trigger. You activate the trigger. Oh, Kami sees the trigger has been activated and checks. At that point, the life's already been taken. There's only 1 in there. If I deal damage to my opponent when they got 2 life, and my opponent activated the trigger effect of 200 Villian Maltamaru, which adds a card from the top of their deck to the top of their life, then can I use this skill? Yes, you can. Again, it comes down to when you check. You take a life, then the trigger activates. The trigger resolves, putting a life back. Then Kami goes, you've used the trigger, let's see how many life you've got. And at that point, there's 2 life, so it absolutely works. My opponent's leader is an L. If I deal damage to my opponent when they've got 1 life, and my opponent activates the trigger effect of you're the one who should disappear. In what order does this all work? Well, the turn player's effect takes priority. So this card's effect will activate first, followed by an L. When this effect is activated, nothing will happen because your opponent's only life card is the one added by the trigger of you're the one who disappear. Then your opponent adds a card from the top of their deck to the top of their life and trashes a card from their hand because of an L, but at that point you've already checked and found there wasn't 2 or more. Turn players activate first. Sorry. And finally, there is a secret rare Kobe that we should have a very quick chat about because there is a relevant ruling. What we've got, Kobe, here is on play, one of your characters can also attack active characters. Hey, what if it's a character I played this turn? No! We've been through this! It doesn't work! They've got to be able to attack anyway. There we go. Big FAQ this time, lots of rulings, but lots of cards which are seen play in Japan and we expect to see play over here. Lots of important stuff, but now I've told you all about it, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me what you're going to be playing in OP-11. Tell me what you're hyped for. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.